Welcome back everybody to episode 21 of this realistic rendering tutorial. We are using the gradient mesh tool, and we left off drawing the or blending the eye layer, the upper eye layer, so this part of the eye here, not that part, I'm sorry, this part, and we attached this part to that, and we blended the edges and dropped the opacities of the edge points, and now we have a pretty solid, smooth looking eye. And now what we have to do is to make this eye pop, we have to draw the details. We have to draw the eyelashes, there's more detail in this part of the eye here that I could show you if you weren't watching the previous episode. And there's just a few more little blobs of color that I want to add that's going to make this eye pop. So let me just hide all this, and then let me actually hide this too with Control 3 though, not hiding the entire layer. And the first detail I want to do is I just want to draw these little small highlights here, and I'm just going to take the pencil tool to make them a little bit more smooth, because the pencil tool does have a little bit of a smoothening to it. And then I'm going to apply the graphic style I saved in the last episode. So it's a feather graphic style. I just wanted to apply a little bit of smoothening to these edges just so they're not perfectly sharp. They will be small, but alright, so now we have those shapes. Let me unhide that, and that's pretty much what we drew. Very subtle, but I think was necessary. Now, another piece that I would like to add is this little golden bubble. And this golden bubble, I'm probably just going to make an ellipse with a simple gradient. I'm going to take the swatch from using my eyedropper tool. I'm going to take a dark swatch like there, add the swatch. I'm going to take a bright swatch from there, add the swatch. And I'm pretty much just going to apply that to a linear gradient. Like so. Just going to match it up. Let me on outline mode so I see what I'm doing. I'm going to take my gradient tool so I can mess with this manually. And I'm pretty much going to leave it like that. Now I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to, what is it, apply feather? Yep, because it's going to apply the feather that I just used. And now we have that little bubble. So definitely good details to have. Alright, so another major step before we do the eyelashes is going to be all this intricate web design that you see within the eye. We have all these little dashes almost kind of in this little, it almost looks like the pupils of sunflower. We have all these little lines, lineage here, and we have all this web, this golden web, and this blue backdrop, which is just going to be our eye layer. But I need to pop those shapes out of the foreground. So I'm just going to go fast forward, but I'm going to take my pen tool, and I'm going to draw the boundary of this shape. And you're going to watch me do this really fast with the pen tool, because you should know how to use the pen tool by now. So if you just watch what I do, you'll see what shape I'm talking about. So just bear with me right now. I'm going to hide these layers using Control 3 so I can see what I'm doing and draw. And let me just get to drawing. Alright, I don't know if you can see this shape, but I drew this shape to represent this golden web that we have going on here. And this is going to get, I'm thinking about applying a general gradient. I'm just going to take a few swatches. So maybe this gray swatch. And then I'm going to take this yellowish color here. And maybe this light gray. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a regular gradient to it. I'm going to take those three swatches, put them in my gradient. probably about like that. Take my gradient tool. I want my gold to fall in the middle. Kind of like that. So let me just show all my layers. So this is what I have right now. Kind of funky looking. It's not really, that's not really what we want it to look like. We're gonna have to drop some opacity, and I want to add a drop shadow to it. So let's go into the drop shadow. We're gonna make it 2 blur, and we got to bring down this offset pretty much to 0. I'm gonna make it 1 and 1, and the opacity needs to be dropped severely. Can we do 0.5 pixels? We can. .5 pixel blur, maybe? 1 pixel blur. I don't really like that. Let's change that. Appearance, drop shadow. That's a little bit better. So, looking better, but we have to drop the opacity. But I don't know if I'm just going to drop the opacity. I might make it a blending mode, but let's see what just 50% or something looks like. Not too bad. Actually pretty good. Let's try 25%. That looks really nice. I'm going to try a blending mode before I confirm that I like that more. Just to see if I can get any type of better look out of it. I might just have to go normal opacity. I'm just going to do normal 25%. That looked really good. Very watery, very nice looking. I'm going to hide this, see what it compares to. Maybe a little bit more visible, maybe like 35. Yeah, definitely cool. And I'm also going to apply a feather. I'm going to just check the feather that I have on here so I can match it. It's a 3 pixel feather. Maybe I'm going to add a little bit more of a feather. 5 pixels. Let's do 4 or 3 pixels. Let's do 4 pixels. Let's save. That looks really good. Alright, so that's step 1 of drawing the eye. So now we have that shape that's really defining some key detail that we see in our eye here. But we're still really missing something. We're still really missing... we're missing something coming from the center of the pupil. We're missing that like sunflower look that we're seeing. You can almost see it again, like these lines shooting outward. So the way we're going to take care of that is we're going to use our line segment tool, and we're also going to use swatches and strokes. So let's make a few swatches that I pulled before. Let's take this purple tone. We're going to take just a few of our original eye swatches that we found. So those 4 are pretty solid. I'm going to hide the layers that I don't need right now so I can see what's going on. But we have to basically do an analysis and look at what tones are where and how we're going to achieve this look. So we could see that from here we have darkness, then we kind of go to dark purple to light pink maybe to a little gold here, here, and here, then back to like a light tan here and here. And we have to basically finesse these colors into each other and overlay a ton of little lines to make it look like it's kind of branching off from the center. And we're going to mess with opacities of these strokes particularly. But before I go, I'm just going to save again, and then you're going to watch what I do. Actually, first, I'm going to make a few segments at the same stroke size for each color. Just going to sample each swatch I have here with a line segment. Just going to make sure that each color gets its own stroke. And the size of the stroke I want to be, let's see, maybe 0.75. Sure. All right, 0.75. So we're going to just duplicate this. We're going to hold down Alt and Shift to drag it to the side, Control D, D. All right, and we're going to just select this color, select this color, select this color. Okay, we're just going to make sure these are all 0.75 points. All right, so that's going to resemble our tones that are going to be in the eye. All right, so I'm going to take my line segment tool, and I'm going to start making segments around this eye, and I'm going to start applying the same color and stroke that I see right here. So if I highlight all these and I hit I and select those, I'm going to get it basically like that. And that's pretty much what I want. Now I'm going to select I, I'm going to select this guy, and add some of these points here. So I'm just going to hit my eyedropper, I'm going to select this stroke here. So there we go, and I'm going to take my line segment, and then I'm going to add some more right here. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to make them all 0.5 points. I think it's just too thick. I'm also going to make this 0.5. Let me go back to my dark color here. Okay, line segment, and we're going to continue to just overlap some color here. Alright, so I'm going to take my purple, because I think I'm transitioning to the purple here, and add some more points, some more lines. I think I'm going to take my gold, and I'm going to go around and add some gold lines. And we're going to be adding opacity to this, so it's not going to look exactly like this, but you can see what we're trying, the effect that we're trying to create when we zoom out. You can almost see how much of a difference it's adding. So let me go back to maybe my purple color here. I'm going to overlap some of my darks. Alright, so now that we just did a little speed run through that, you can see what the effect we're trying to go with now. But what we need to do is we need to select all these, and I'm just going to probably group them. And then I'm going to reveal everything so I see what's going on. And it looks really nice from here without any opacity change. But I think I'm going to copy and paste in place by hitting Control-Shift-V after hitting Control-C. And I'm just going to make it a little bit more visible. I'm just going to mess with the scale manually. Just add a little bit more. I'm just going to duplicate it. And just give it a little bit more dimension. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those two groups, group them again. And then I am going to try and drop the opacity maybe by like 20, maybe to 50%. And I'm just going to scale it down so it matches the pupil a little bit better. Gonna bring this guy to the front. And that is what I was trying to go for. It's very subtle, but I think it's very important to add those details. So let's hide this and let's look at that eye. Very realistic eye. So let's bring back the pieces, and that's what we're left with right now. Very vivid eye right now, I think. I think this, if anything, the only thing that needs to change, other than adding eyelashes, is to I think just this feather right here needs to be increased. I don't know why I can't select it. There we go. Maybe just, maybe like 4, maybe 5 actually. Yeah, it's definitely nicer. Let me save that. Alright, so the next step is eyelashes, and for that what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my pen tool and manually draw the entire shape of the eyelashes. So I'm going to go around every point, every indent I see, and create one uniform shape, and then I'll go back if I need to, and I'll pop out like hollow points like over here, and maybe here needs to be popped out, and I'll figure it out as I go. But let's get right to that. All right, so just to cut into the fast forward right now, I haven't done it with the other shapes either, but I just want to quickly use the round tool on this recent drawing I did. I know it's not like all my curves that I was drawing aren't perfect over here, so I want to just quickly just go over them with the tool to just give the curves a little bit more of a cleaner bend. I don't want any like notches in my Bezier curve. So that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna do it to this guy really quick too. I'm just gonna restart my software really quick. My line is making some, it's like, see this? It's just doing some weird things right now. Hopefully that problem stopped, and it looks like it didn't, so we're just gonna keep going forward, I guess. So alright, so just a quick intermission. I am just following whatever path I think I see with the eyelashes. I'm going to go back and use my smooth tool to clean up a lot of the curves that I'm not really worrying about too much. And I think the biggest challenge when it comes to these eyelashes is it's going to be this shadow, this green dark shadow that lies under the eyelashes. I might need to make another mesh shape, just another simple gradient right there to blend under the eyelid, because I just think I need a little bit more darkness down here. Let me look at it right now. Maybe I don't need to make another shape. Maybe I could just edit the gradient and add a little bit more darkness to the bottom of the eye to really make that eyelash blend. Or I can just drop opacity of the eyelashes on the bottom. They aren't really the most visible thing, and if I drop opacity, it might make it recess a little bit and blend a little bit nicer. So maybe I could try that. But overall, I think once we have everything drawn out, we can then go and look at what we need to edit. But for now, let's continue drawing. Alright, so now we're going to start closing the shape in because I ran out of eyelash to draw. It seems to end right here. So I'm going to draw a general shape around every eyelash, and then where there's hollowness, where there's see-through and there's knockout, like these brown spots, or like this spot right here, I'm going to draw those shapes, and then I'm going to pop them out and make them see-through. So it's going to add a little bit more of dimension to the eyelashes. And being that I need to draw eyelashes that cover the eye a little bit, I don't want to have a giant blob blocking every spot. I want this to be see-through because this is the pupil right here. This isn't just a black blob. You're seeing through the pupil. Same thing right here. This isn't just an orange blob. This is the eyelid inside of the eye. You're seeing through the eyelashes. So I need to make sure I can see that in my drawing. So I need to draw those shapes, knock them out of my eyelash shape that I'm finishing up right now. And hopefully everything looks good, but still, we are still drawing. Notice how I'm just basically going around every eyelash, just following the shape of the color, and I'm going to worry about my knockout shapes later. Alright, so there's my main shape. Let me just show what I have so far. And this is going to change a little bit. But big difference from not having any eyelashes, I can tell you that. So the only thing missing from making it look a little more real is possibly maybe a little bit of opacity. And some knockout. So let me just bring it back to 100% opacity right now, and let's work on the knockout. So I'm going to make it a stroke so I can see. And then I'm going to hide my layers I don't need to see right now. And we're going to go back to drawing the knockout shapes. I'm actually going to combine these little eyelashes right here with my main shape. So I'm just going to take this point, shift click that, Pathfinder add. I'm going to make sure all my knockout shapes are grouped. So I'm going to hit Control G. So now that they are all grouped, I think for the most part that's really all the knockout that I need to show. Maybe a little bit more in here. Alright, so I think that's all the knockout I need to draw. So let me make sure I have it all selected. Let me just make sure with Control Y. Alright, so all my knockout shapes are selected, except for this one over here. What is that? So let me take that, make sure they're grouped, and bring them to the front. So you can hit Control-Shift right bracket, and then we want to make sure Control-Shift left bracket, this is sent to the back. And then we're going to shift-click both of them, and then we're going to hit the subtract point right here. And what that's going to do is it is now going to make this a completely compound path, one shape with holes in it, like that. So that's what we have now. So let's release everything, and let's show everything that we have so far. And now the eyelashes look a little bit better. We could see some hollow through there. And I'm going to select all the eyelashes actually now. Or at least this one. And I'm going to lower the opacity. I'm going to go 50%. Definitely looks better to me. So I'm going to go select it now, and then maybe I'm going to try to feather it. Let's see what it looks like with the feather. Definitely not 5 pixels, but let's try maybe 2. Maybe 1 pixel? Yeah, I definitely like that. That's a little bit more subtle, less in your face. I'm going to try that with the other eyelashes, but first I'm going to make this into a graphic style. And then let's see if it applies. Does it change my color? Just trying to make sure it doesn't change my color. So my color is 171419. I'm going to redo that. It changes the color. So how about this? Let me just select these manually. I'm going to lock that. Select these manually, and then I'm just going to drop them all to 50% at once. I'm actually going to group them while I'm at it too. Maybe I'll make these 65%. I'm actually going to move this guy up as well as this guy up. I just want them more in the shadow. Alright, so pretty much I think that eye is finished, except I just want to add a little more darkness to the bottom of the eye. So maybe I need to take these points and do a little bit of an upward blend. I think it's just a little too dark. I mean, it's just a little too bright. I definitely like the result that I just did. I just have to fix now. Just got to fix this blending with the edge because I changed the color now. I'm gonna lock this. Gonna lock this too. Lock this guy. This has got to be 0%. 0%. Just gonna add one more point here. It seems like I don't have any color selection over here, and I'm losing that blend. Make this 0% too. I think I gotta change this color as well. Make this one maybe 50%. Perfect. Unlock. I'm gonna bring these to the front. I just don't, something's a little off still right here. I'm gonna make this one 50%. Make these guys 50%. I think I just gotta go back to this layer and then just do, there's gotta be a color right there. That's a good. Wonder why I see that line. Maybe because these are 100%? Make these 50%. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. The last thing I want to do, I know I say the last thing like 100 times, but I just think of new things I forget either that I wanted to do, and plus I also have to fix this line up here. That's not good. But I do want to add a feather to this. I want to apply that feather. Not the same amount of feather, I guess. Effect, stylize, feather. I have 1 pixel. Maybe we could do 0.5 pixels? Did that work? 0.75 pixels, maybe? Can't do anything under a pixel for these. Alright, I'm going to do 1 pixel. That seems to soften it a little bit. I'm going to save it. And let me just edit this one edge. So what I'm doing is rematching the edge point, and I'm taking the second most point in, and I'm making that 50% for a smoother transition. I did some color changes, so I just got to make sure our color is back to normal and back to matching to our plate that it sits under it. Anytime you make edits, you're probably going to need to do some color matching again. And you can see how complex these eyes are. We've been working on these eyes for a long time. Very important that we get the eye right. So that's looking pretty clean. Alright guys, so I'm just going to give it a save, but I think on the next episode we're going to move forward away from this eye. I think we have pretty much what we need to get out of this eye, drawing wise. And I don't really see any need to do more drawing on that eye. I mean, I think it's pretty nice, it's pretty realistic, it's pretty smooth. The only thing we're missing really is, I mean, other than that glitter highlight that I don't necessarily think we need to put in, just actual glitter to brighten up that eye and make it look like it's in the drawing. But other than that, I think it's pretty spot on. So I mean, at most I might do some edits to the eyelashes because they're a little splotchy on the bottom. I might add more. But I really don't know yet. I might, maybe that's a touch-up that I do later. Right now, I think it's pretty fine to go forward and try and complete the rest of the drawing. So thank you guys for sticking through the eye tutorial. If you think you still don't know how to draw the eyes, I'm going to still record the other eye being drawn. But I feel like if you watch me draw that eye, you can completely draw the other eye successfully. My name is Mark DiMattei. Find me on Instagram at markedarts. That's MARKD_ARTS. I'll see you in the next one.